Welcome to the God's Word News Service with your host, Bishop Gregory.
Good evening. I'm Bishop Gregory, and I'd like to talk to you this evening about something that it's been bothering me. I've been thinking about it quite a bit lately. And that is, could the liberal controlled public education system and the leftists in government be planning on using the COVID-19 virus to take over total control of America's children? And if you're a parent and if you love your children, then you need to pay close attention to what I'm going to be laying out before you. Because we seem to be entering a whole new world, a whole new reality. And it is a frightening place, frightening to the point that we are scared to death to shake hands with each other, to be close to each other, and all due to the so-called COVID-19 virus. And where has this led us? I often wonder just how many parents in this day and age really care about their children.
Get out and stay out. We don't need you.
Now, did you just hear that? That was the sound of slamming shut the door after we, as individuals in a nation, kicked God to the curb. America, for many years, at least as far back as I can remember, had been the shining example of a civilized Judeo-Christian nation, society, and it has been under a sustained attack by left-wing Marxist activists, supported and encouraged by the Democrats, whose sole purpose is to tear down our religious freedoms, our right to free speech, our right to keep and bear arms to defend ourselves, our families, and our property. And the Democrats are waging an all-out war against Christians in court. And now using the COVID-19 virus as an excuse. Many states, Democrat-controlled states, are forbidding Christians from going to church or even holding religious services of any kind in their own homes. They're waging a war against us in the media and on the streets of America, and they are using our children to do it. You heard that correct. The leftists, the Democrats, are turning America's children against their parents, against their families, against their own country, and worst of all, against God Himself. It is the leftist Democrats who masterminded the gay liberation movement to destroy Christian ideals and morality. The ultimate plan of all leftists throughout world history is to substitute themselves for God. And under the anti-God, anti-religious Barack Hussein Obama, following 9/11, the left used the war on radical Islam to instigate an attack on Christianity. Now, the left has a new weapon to recruit and train more useful idiots for their army of stormtroopers. What is this weapon? It is none other than the COVID-19 virus. And it is going to be used in conjunction with our public education system. It has become extremely rare in America today to find a public school that is free from propaganda, indoctrination, brainwashing. For example, many public schools are now teaching third and fourth grade students in what is supposed to be English lessons that white people are bad, racist, mean against African Americans and Mexicans. How many 6, 7, and 8-year-olds do you know and their parents who are bad, mean, and racist against African Americans, Mexicans, or any other racial or ethnic group? Yet this will is being forced down our children's throats as public school educators insinuate to children of color that all white people are racist or against them in one way or another. This is false. This is disgusting. And it is destroying the minds and souls of America's children. For the most part, we have turned into a nation of compliant, obedient sheep, afraid to think for ourselves. We are told to quarantine ourselves in our homes, basically placing ourselves on self imposed house arrest. We comply, even though it is costing us our livelihoods. And some businesses are allowed to stay open, but they must impose strict draconian rules on their customers. Some states will allow you to go to the beach, but you are not allowed to walk on dry sand, only wet sand. Like that's going to stop a virus? If you have to go outside, you must wear a mask and maintain social distancing. Unless, of course, you are a member of a mob engaged in what they call peaceful demonstrations, comprised of arson, looting, assault, murder, or any other sort of general mayhem. And even though it violates the Constitution of the United States, we are forbidden to attend church or to even hold any religious services, even in our own homes. And we are not allowed to defend ourselves, our property, or our families against vicious attacks by violent leftist agitators, Oh, excuse me, I mean peaceful protesters. And if you dare to do so, you will be arrested and prosecuted. But the real criminals are being released from prisons and jails bail free so that they will not risk getting the coronavirus. Abortion clinics and marijuana shops are allowed to stay open and operate without restrictions. And this is in all Democrat controlled states and cities. Now, most, if not all, Americans know or have suspected that America's children have been and are being indoctrinated and brainwashed in our public education system. The students are being taught out and out falsehoods about our nation's founding and history, as well as being taught subjects that have no business being taught in our grade schools. I have had many parents tell me that their children were told by their teachers not to tell their parents what they are being taught in school because their parents are old fashioned and won't understand. In other words, the schools are trying to hide what and how they were teaching our children. Through their taxes, parents are paying for school buildings and their upkeep. They are paying the salaries of the school administrators and teachers, but they have no real say in how the schools are run or as to what subjects and how those subjects are to be taught. Oh, sure, you can attend your local school board meetings, but if you wish to speak and make your feelings known, you are severely limited as to how long you can speak. And if you bring up topics or subjects which the members do not wish to discuss, they will cut you off and perhaps have you ejected from the meeting by force if necessary. Now, one of my sisters was told several years ago by a school principal when she went to her son's grade school to register a complaint about the sex education course that was being taught to her son. Quote, "It is none of your business what and how we teach your son. Your business is only to send him to school." End of quote. Now, this alone shows that the NEA, teachers' unions, and your local public schools have far overstepped their bounds, going way over their mandate of simply educating America's children. Who actually voted for and gave permission for our schools to become feeding stations, providing free breakfast and lunch, especially to students whose parents are already receiving food stamps? And many of those students are even in the country illegally. Who authorized our education system to become involved in the students' private sexual and home lives, and in compiling personal information about the students' parents as to how much money they earn, what the parents' religious and political beliefs are, and if and how often the parents punish their child, and even far worse information. And what right do the schools have to access your child's medical records? Exactly what business is any of this the business of the schools? Now, with online virtual classrooms that are being put into place due to COVID-19, it is about to get much worse. Unless parents wake up and wake up fast. Officials at all county schools are asking parents to sign forms agreeing not to watch or monitor these virtual classes. Parents of students who attend Rutherford County Schools, RCS, must agree not to monitor their child's online classroom sessions. Why? What are they trying to hide? According to a report in the Tennessee Star, they received a copy of a form being sent to parents of schools in the Rutherford County School District. According to claims made by the RCS, they, quote, strive to prevent they strive to present these opportunities in a secure format that protects student privacy to the greatest extent possible. Yeah, while they're pumping them for personal information about their own sex lives and their family lives. However, because these meetings will occur virtually, RCS is limited in its ability to fully control certain factors, such as non student observers that may be present in the home of a student participating in the virtual meeting. RCS also strongly discourages non student observation of online meetings due to the potential of confidential information about a student being revealed. The form being sent out asks parents for their signature and warns that, quote, violation of this agreement may result in RCS removing your child from the virtual meeting, end of quote. An RCS spokesman, James Evans, when addressing the matter in an email to the Star, said, quote, we are aware of the concern that has been raised about this distance learning letter that was sent to parents. The intent was not to prevent parents from being involved with their children during distance learning, but it was intended to protect the academic privacy of other students in the classroom who are visible during certain virtual class sessions. Yeah, sure. And if you believe that, I have some beautiful oceanfront property in Arizona I'd like to sell you. Evans went on to say, we have issued new guidance to principals that parents can assist their children during virtual group lessons with permission of the instructor, but should refrain from sharing or recording any information about other students in the classroom. Now, how many parents would be interested in information about other students in the classroom? Well, more news. In another county in Tennessee, 50 miles away, Maury County Mayor Andy Ogles had the good sense and courage to say no to Governor Bill Lee's Big Brother style child well-being program that plans to send government officials to families' homes to do welfare checks of children. Now, what the hell business is that of the state? The Tennessee Department of Education says it released a toolkit on child well-being checks to ensure the needs of children are being met during and after extended periods away from school. In other words, they're afraid they might lose control of the students. It is promoted as protecting children. Yeah. And I'm Chicken Little and the sky's falling. The department earmarked $1 million in COVID-19 funds to set up regional overseers to work with districts which are encouraged to apply. A grant from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention will give funding for 8 regional staff members to work across the state. Isn't that wonderful? Parents, do you see what is going on? The leftist controlled public education system is using the so called COVID-19 epidemic as a weapon to wrest away your rights as parents to make the schools and the state sole parents and guardians of America's children, exactly as all socialist communist countries do. Do not give in. You are the parents. They are your children and your responsibility. You are the first responders when it comes to the physical, moral, and spiritual safety of your children. Not the schools, not the state. You, as the parent, grandparent, or legal guardian, have every right to know what and how your children are being taught and by whom. And it makes no difference if it is in a normal everyday classroom or a virtual online classroom. If you have any objection on moral or spiritual grounds as to what and how and by whom your children are being taught, you have every right to say no and remove your child or children from that class, school, or to pull a plug on the virtual classroom. Do not be afraid to stand up for your rights as a parent. Fear, failure to act, complacency, or just plain ignorance is what will cause you to lose your rights as a parent, just as it is what is causing us to lose all of our other rights and freedoms. Your children, whether they are your biological offspring or adopted, are precious gifts to you from God. And along with that gift, God bestowed upon you the responsibility to love, protect, guide, and teach them. Don't throw away that gift. It does not take a village to raise a child. It only takes a loving and caring mother and father. Please think long and hard on what I've just laid out before you. Thank you. And I hope you will get your friends and relatives and other people to watch this video. In the meantime, have a blessed evening. Stay safe. Stay in the Lord. And may God richly bless you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.